我们现在呢是在浸会大学传理学院的我们经常开会的一个地方。那么在这里呢，我们今天下午来做一场直播，就是向大家来讲一下我们的4大硕士课程。那么大家可能之前也通过预约和海报看到了我们的这个讲座的信息。那今天呢有一个小小的变动，就是我们的这个 Angela， 那就是这个 CVA 926的账户的拥有者啊，她呢因为工作繁忙呢就没有办法前往，但是我们迎来了一个更加重量的嘉宾。等一下，当然这个重量是有好多含义的啊。这个，So we're very happy to be here to introduce the 4 top postgraduate programs here at HKBU School of Communication. So I'm so sorry that Angela could not make it today. But we have a heavier guest, so in many senses, right? So in this afternoon, so I'll spend around 2 hours to talk about our programs, stories, and behind-scene admissions, and any things that you would like to know. So feel free to post your questions here.
In Chinese or English?
Yes, and in today's live streaming, it will be conducted in English and Chinese, so it will be a bilingual live streaming. So first, let me introduce myself. I'm Vincent. I'm the Director of MA Communication here at the School of Communication. 我叫黄磊。那大家可能都是通过我们的这个小红书的预约看到的。那过去的一段时间，在小红书上，可能看到我好多在讲浸会传理的故事。那我也很高兴，今天我们可以通过这样的一个直播的方式和大家见面。我们也知道，有的同学可能在很紧张的等待申请的结果呀，或者说已经恭喜大家被录取，那么也在准备入学的各种事情，所以今天也是一个很好的机会，可以来向大家介绍一下我们的传理学院，以及回答大家的这个不同的问题。So let me begin by introducing the guests for today's show. I think Paulo has a good name for this live stream. It's a show. It's definitely a show, right? It's a show, yeah. So Dr. Paulo Magoni, he is the director of Master of Science of AI and Digital Media.
Yes.
So just say something.
Hello. Good afternoon. Welcome to this show where we try to introduce our programs and answer your questions from the point of view of different programs that we can help you maybe to choose your future, let's say, future learning in HKBU.
Sure. Paulo 是我们的 AIDM 课程的负责人，就是人工智能与数码媒体这个课程的负责人。他有一个非常好的昵称，中文的互联网当中叫 So do you know your Chinese nickname? Students give to you?
Right now, no.
No?
They give me many. Many.
There's one, if I translate directly into English, it's a sweet Paulo, 甜心保罗.
甜心保罗.
Sweet Paulo,
yes.
a sweetheart Paulo. And another one is directly, it's just like, sounds like Chinese, because your last name is Mangoni, right?
Mangoni.
Mangoni. Oh, you know that, okay.
Mangoni.
Yeah, so yeah, that's
Yes.
Paulo. Okay, thank you. Another one is Ms. Robin Ewan. She is the Director of MA in International Journalism. Robin.
Hi, I'm going to speak in English.
Sure.
I don't think I have a nickname. Students just call me Robin, right? So
Maybe Super Robin.
No. So if anybody has any questions or doesn't understand my English, please ask. I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about the journalism program, one of the 4 programs here, and I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so any questions you might have?
Sure， 我们在直播的时候呢，如果大家有任何的问题，那如果关于大家我们在刚才讲的内容，中文的也好，英文的也好，有听不明白的、听不清楚的，都可以留言。我们场外呢有我们的同学，我们在读的同学是在我们这个幕后的工作人员。一会儿我们可能也请他们 say 个 hi 啊，但是大家可以把问题都留在下面，一会儿我们可以集中回答。Okay, so next. What's your role, Steve?
I don't know.
So should I? Yeah, Steve has many hats actually in this School of Communication.
Too many.
Too many. Well, he was the program director, the first and the one and only program director of MA in Communication. Actually, he established the MA Communication program here at the School of Communication. 那他呢，其实是我们传理学文学硕士课程的这个叫什么建项目的创建人。那呢做课程主任做了好多年，这个后来呢也担任了我们的副院长，还有我们的这个担任院长的职务，所以有好多的 hats。 但是 Steve 是一个很有趣的人，但是一会儿我们再详细的让他讲一些他的 fun facts. Okay, so Steve.
大家好。刚才那个 Vincent 说我是一个重量级的人，我现在想想，我唯一那个最重的地方，除了我体重以外，就是我这是年龄最大的。我在浸会传理学院已经工作了快到29年了。其实他刚才讲到我那个帮助创建了这个 MA in Communication， 但是这个20年前，我们的叫媒介管理社会科学硕士，我也参与了创建，所以今天那个很不幸啊，原来的这个安排的王老师他不能在，但是呢，我可以介绍和回答大家关于传媒管理社会科学硕士的一切的问题。等一下咱们再聊。
好的，好 ，Thank you, Steve. So the last one, but not the least, Mr. Paulo Shepard. So, well, he is my dear colleague. We work together for the MA Communication program. There's the latest development of the program that we have an interactive media concentration. And Paulo, who has lots of experience with animation. Paul, sorry. Paul and Paul. Sweetheart Paulo.
You
And,
get us mixed up sometimes.
yeah, and
We're
Paul.
both dreamy.
We need more coffee.
More coffee, more coffee.
So Paul is currently the program director of the MA in Communication Interactive Media Concentration. So Paul.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here. And I work closely with Vincent, who is the program director for the MA Communications, and then I take on the students who want to do interactive media for their specific area of expertise. 我都会讲广东话，少少 but we of course accept English speakers, 普通话, 广东话, and we try to make sure that we can work between all of those languages. You know,
And
it's
we
very
learned
important to us.
also Korean this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean this noon, right? When we're having
Oh,
lunch,
that's
and
right,
we
we were.
also learn how to count numbers in Korean, right? So,
So I do actually have a Chinese nickname
what's
because
that?
in Cantonese, the translation, whatever you call it, for my name, Paul, English name Paul, Cantonese is Bolo. But I was at a concert, I think, one time, and my wife, her friend was there with her son, and I was telling her son in Cantonese, you know, how to say my name. It was like, oh, Bolo, Hi Bolo, I'm Paul. And he couldn't, or maybe my accent wasn't quite right, or something like that, but he kept calling me Bolo, which is pineapple.
Pineapple.
Oh, that's so cute.
So now I'm
amazing.
Polo. Hi Polo.
Pineapple.
That's so sweet.
Pineapple and mango.
Yeah, pineapple.
Is this the same?
His last
Because
name,
his
mango.
mangoni in Chinese sounds like mango, mangoni.
Mango.
Which is
And
mango.
that's pineapple.
That's
mango.
That's mango.
So we're a
It's
bunch of
pineapple
fruits
with
over here.
mango.
Mango. Yeah.
That's really cute.
Yeah, very tropical.
Tropical.
And robin, of course, in English is a bird. It's a type of bird.
That's
So we
true.
got-
Oh, yes.
I am named after a bird.
That's nice. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So glad to talk more. Should I
Sure.
jump into more? Or?
Yeah, so thank you very much so this is just a very brief introduction of all the program directors. Actually, those are the people that you will meet in the orientations if you're admitted in the next cohort of the students. So that's 2024 fall. If you're admitted, then we will have an orientation in August. So more information will be sent out later. 我们在8月底的时候会有一个新生入学的欢迎会，那个时候呢，大家就可以见到我们的老师们。But of course, if you're interested in the program so eagerly, and you happen to be nearby in Hong Kong or maybe I don't know in the Great Bay areas, I don't know, even you're far away, you can just come here tomorrow and also Sunday for our graduation exhibition. 我们在明天和后天呢，在线上也有直播，大家也可以明天也可以继续来关注，就是有2场的关于同学们的毕业作品的一个毕业展。Also, next Wednesday and Thursday will be the graduation commencement. So we will have some small party, nice parties when there will be food and snacks and drinks, not just coffee, not alcohol. So just some coffee to enjoy, to celebrate. 如果大家感兴趣的话呢，也可以在下周3和下周4，我们在浸会大学的这个毕业典礼结束以后呢，在下午5点左右会在我们的 CVA 天台有一个小型的这样的聚会。如果你恰好在香港或者是在任何离香港近的地方方便过来的话，都非常欢迎大家来到校园。我们这个校园是开放校园，不需要注册，不需要登记，那就可以直接过来。Or you can just send an email to us. Set up a meeting and talk to us and learn more about the programs, right?
Definitely.
Okay, so in today's show, we'll be just talking about the programs first, some background. So how about we start by Paulo, by talking about AIDM. 我们接下来请 Paulo 来介绍一下 AIDM 这个项目。
Okay, so AIDM is meaning AI and digital media. Our program is basing on applications of AI to digital media. What is AI? AI is a wide term that we can use for many things. Nowadays, you know probably the AI for generative AI, that you can generate image, text, etc. But AI is also useful for analyzing data. Starting from the database, your customer information can be marketing information about different products, etc. Can be analyzed using AI algorithms to extract some useful information that you can use in different fields. You can use it to improve your sales. You can use to promote some content in social media. You can use to promote videos on streaming media. Can be used in many different fields. What we provide in AIDM is training on, first of all, computer science background, because you need to understand how this algorithm works and you should be able to program them in different languages. We will focus on Python, probably most of all, but also we start from zero knowledge. We don't assume that you know anything about programming. We start from zero. And we will have some bridging courses that put you up to the pace for programming these algorithms and interact with the ChatGPT or other programs for large language models. On the other side, we have a communication part. That we start from basics of communication. If you didn't study, we don't assume that you have communication background either. So we start from that, from the basics, and you will pick up your knowledge about communication theories that you can apply to different fields like marketing or promotion on social media, producing reports, or communicating internally to an organization. Everything will lead to more advanced course that can lead you to different careers. That can you use it for marketing career. You can use it for your further studies in a PhD or a Master of Philosophy in different parts of the world. Also, it will open up a lot of opportunities. You can also go to banking or finance institutions that need to analyze data. Need to visualize data. We will have courses on data visualization and data analysis, advanced statistics, and additional analysis ways of the different data that you can have. More, you can also produce reports. So we'll have some writing course in English, okay, that you can use for producing some good content for different kinds of media. I introduce where are our students. You may understand that our students have different careers, okay? We have students that, let's say, graduates that are already in different institutions doing research. For PhD, for example, we have a couple of students in Michigan State in the US. We have one graduate in Malaysia. Multiple graduates here in Hong Kong at the City University, Polytechnic here at the HKBU School of Communication. We have students that are working in enterprise, that are financial institutions in Hong Kong, that are, for example, ICBC Bank Bank of China as product managers. We have students that are in Tencent doing programming tasks, data analysis. We have graduates that are joining BYD for automotive field. We have some students that are joining also DCH, how it is called in
DCH?
DCH automotive.
大疆？
Dajang.
你是大疆？
Yes.
Yeah.
Dajang. And other fields that are requiring data analysis, data visualization, data interactions with data to produce different content. More, we have students that are in communication. For example, they are in newspapers producing content for social media. They are in Phoenix TV here in Hong Kong producing content or organizing content for television, in TVB and other streaming media. So these are all the opportunities that can open up from AI and digital media master.
So is there any question from the audience we can ask?
So also stop and
No,
ask
no, okay.
immediately.
Yeah, so 我们现场外面的这个同学呢，如果看到有问题，可以随时的提问。OK， 好的。
好的。
Okay, thank you, Paulo. Sweetheart, Paulo.
Thank you. I pass the word
Okay.
to Robin.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, so I'm going to talk about the MAI-JS program. That stands for Master of Arts in International Journalism Studies. And when you are an MAI-JS, you have two concentrations. We have one called International Journalism, and the other one is called Business and Financial Journalism. So two different tracks. They do share electives and they share some courses, but they kind of have different goals. So obviously, we teach journalism, and it's a mix of, professional production courses. You'll take news writing, you'll take multimedia journalism, learning how to use cameras and audio recorders and tell stories with sound, tell stories with video, tell stories with images. And there's feature writing, you can study food writing, you could study all different kinds of professional skills to help you be a journalist. We also offer theory courses. If you're more research oriented, we have lots of students that go on after this master's program to do further degrees. So it's a nice mix of professional and theoretical, and you can use your electives to kind of choose more in one direction or the other. So you have elective choices, so that's nice. You can choose your electives to be more professional, more production, or you can use your electives to go more research-based. For students who are in the business and financial journalism, obviously the focus is on business and financial news. You'll take business news writing classes, you'll study economics and learn financial terms. And a lot of the students that come through that program are now working at financial media organizations. We have students at Bloomberg, at Financial Times, or they're business reporters for organizations like the South China Morning Post or China Daily, and different places like that. But one thing I like to say is you don't have to want to be a professional journalist to do a journalism degree, because I would say probably about half of our graduates are working in media and news media, but you can take journalism and use it for so many different things. Because you're learning these fundamental skills like fact checking, how do you verify, especially with AI now, Paolo can talk about this, but how do you know what's real and what's not real anymore? And these are skills that all of the students studying media learn, but in journalism you're learning to verify information and credible information, and that can be used in so many different fields. We have students in law, I have students going on and doing public relations, crisis management, doing all kinds of different fields where you use that foundation from journalism to help you produce content or whatever you may do. So should I talk about anything else or specific courses, or what do you think?
Yeah, we can delve into these questions later.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yeah, and I think journalism is one of the flagship programs from the School of Communication,
Yeah,
and even at
I would agree.
HKBU. And to me, I totally agree with what you said, is that you do not necessarily have to be a journalist after graduation. you can, I think this program is about training you about the sensitivity to content and also cultivating a taste of words.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
think that's
And
what
learning
I
how to
feel.
tell stories.
Yeah, learning to tell, yes.
And feeling
definitely.
comfortable with different kinds of people and adapting to new environments. That's a very, very strong skill for a journalist.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Robin. Okay, Steve.
question。
哦有
问
so
说
we have a question.
AIDM 跟IG 会不会有游学？
我正想，我来回答一下。It looks like we got a whole bunch of graduates who are here rather than potential applicants because I see
Hi,
a
grads.
person says I love Robin and the
Aw.
other
Thank you.
says me too and the third person says Robin rules.
Oh, thank you.
谢谢大家。
Very
我来先回答一下这个问题啊。一个是说，游学的问题，我们这个所有的这个课程的同学和行政人员都一模一样的可以参加游学，并且那个我们每年呢有很多不同的地方去，大家可以选择。所以是游学的话呢是不是问题的？王小伟老师呢，的确不再做课程主任了。 他有其他的行政工作要做，这是目前为止我看到的作业，Do they get a lot of homework？ 这个要是问 Robin 的，那么就
Yes, I think that's one criticism I get. I give too much homework.
Robin 答应了会减少。
Yes, I give a lot.
你们是看得到这些问题的是吧？
他们会 recap 给我。
那行，我就不一定。
你看。
对，我们可以全部都介绍完之后呢，然后回答一些问题。
25分的录取机会。
录取我们等一下讲，我们马上就要讲。我们先把每一个 program 很快的介绍完之后呢，然后再讲一些细节。So we'll talk about just the overview of the programs first, and then we'll delve into all those specific questions.
Okay.
Coursework, maybe yes. Okay.
我就特别简单的介绍一下啊，大家都知道，在今天这个互联网时代，你要想了解浸会的大学的任何一个课程，或者香港任何一所大学的任何课程，你只需要上网一查，那个信息都非常的全面。关于什么主任啊、负责老师啊，他们上面既有他们的简历、电话和邮箱，需要的话可以跟他们联系。这个传媒管理社会科学硕士呢，大概是20多年前成立的，那个时候呢是唯一的，当时传理学院和另外的一个学院，就是我们的商学院一起合办的这么一个硕士课程。后来呢，我们有了和 AIDM 是和电脑系这个也是合办的，是变成了我们的第2个合办的课程。这个课程呢，最早的想法初衷就是培养一些媒体的管理人才，所以呢有27个学分啊，每个一门课3个学分，大概9门课。在这个9门课里，有差不多一半或以上呢是商学院老师提供的那个课程。所以同学们如果有兴趣，什么市场经营啊、传媒管理啊，或者是网站平台啊这些东西，的有关的这方面的知识有兴趣的，欢迎来申请，传媒管理社会科学硕士。刚才呢，我们在楼下就看到了一个毕业生，我问了他自己开了一个公司，我就问了他一下，我说你学这个媒介管理有用吗？他说这个很多的课程在理念和实践上对他都有特别大的帮助，所以呢，欢迎大家申请。有问题的话，可以在这个线上提出，也可以以后再通过其他形式提出啊，谢谢。
好，谢谢 Steve. Okay, Paul, not Paulo. Paul.
Hello.
Hello.
But what? Paolo is the Italian version of Paul, I think, right? Am I
It
wrong?
is.
I
So we're actually both Paul.
Paul is the English version of
Yeah. And Pablo is Spanish, and
Yeah.
there's a few others out there. I
Yeah.
forget all of them, but so we actually it is the same name. It's just
Same name,
different
yeah.
different languages actually. So, hello,
Hello.
welcome again. I first actually want to give a shout out to our students here who are actually the ones running all of this social media, this streaming. You guys want to jump in? Just give a wave.
Hi.
Get on camera. No, come on camera.
Oh no.
Just say hi. But then that really leads me to, what I'm here to talk about, which is the Masters of arts in communication with a concentration
Yes.
in interactive media. So this would be in addition to all the basic requirements for the Masters of Communication students. We also have, if I can find it here, I have slides for you to see. I think it's showing through the Zoom
Yeah,
and probably not here.
yeah. It's okay. There will be playback. So 在小红书上的同学呢，我们之后这个 playback 大家可以再看到这个 slides. So when they see the playback, they will know more about this, what you have on the slide.
Yeah, and if, I'm not sure if there's a link we're on Redbook here, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
The link you can watch my book.
Excellent. So we've got a couple streaming platforms, and this goes back to our Masters of Communication concentration in interactive media. We of course are going along with the main Masters in Communication, but we are trying to, our approach is to make it so that our students are not don't feel restricted by technology. You can come with us. Obviously, a master's program, more than an undergraduate program, is about you identifying the area that you really want to go into. The specific kind of things you want to get into. It's not quite a PhD. PhD is more, you are one of the few people in the world researching a certain thing, but in the master's program, you're spending a lot more time focusing on the area that you want to. So we're supporting you through that process, specifically in doing things more driven by technology. And it's about you figuring out what you want to do. So that might be AI, like we've already talked about it a bit. It might be animation or games or something like that. But you're the one kind of driving these things. And we put this through a variety of areas. One of the big things that we do is a big capstone project. At the end of your year, we have a 1 year, 2 semesters, and that's for full-time students is 1 year. Part-time students would be 2 years. And in the end of that, you will finish with a capstone project. Now that might look like a prototype of a app or a pitch deck for your new business or some business plan, a product video for a new product, or maybe it's a final production of your artwork in some way. But this is for you to sort of navigate. We're here to help you in this process. This is through a lot of our classes. And we do this through a design thinking approach. That's something that we really cherish here is, how are we trying to build things together? How are we trying to make these new things? How are we trying to engage with not just the technology, but forward-thinking ideas and prepare you for a future of working with, new technologies of devices. We try not to focus too much on the one exact sort of technology, but giving you a broad idea, and then you specifically go into what do I want to sort of study and work on. We do this through 27 units. I mentioned already it's 1 year for full-time, 2 years for part-time, and
We're no longer on the red book.
and we also do this through a series of workshops. And these workshops, we bring in industry partners to review some of the products that or some of the projects that you're working on and the content that you're creating. We bring in guest speakers from around the world. We also hold study tours. This last year, we went to Shenzhen and got to meet one of my favorite Chinese artists, Sen Xiaomen, who makes some amazing works. And we got to go to his studio, and he gave a full lecture for us. And we built this and so this is in addition to your courses. We have these workshops with hands-on engagement, and some of the topics that we talk about are projection mapping, which is where you use basically video projectors and create videos or animation, and you can basically transform maybe an everyday object or a building or something into something new. Projection mapping is the art of basically adding a new skin or new look to something that's already existing, maybe a sculpture or a building or something like that, and then you add animation on top and it makes a whole new, completely transforms the object you're looking at. We also get into augmented reality, virtual reality, and now the more general term for these and more, mixed reality, MR. We talk about some animation, obviously AI, art, some game theory, and more. And this is actually more specifically, what are you going to focus yourselves on, right? Some of these things don't come up because people aren't asking for them, so we don't always go over every one of these things, but this is up to you to decide kind of what areas do you want to see and which workshops you want to go and be a part of. And then we finish it off, actually, what we're doing this weekend is an exhibition, a graduation showcase, student run, showing your products, networking, and hoping to launch your careers. Launching your careers and then hopefully getting you the networking and the connections that you need for that. And then, we want you to come back after you're done. You graduate, you move on your careers, and we hope you remember us, right? That's actually one of the most powerful parts of university experience, is that once you go here, right, for maybe 1-year program, 2-year program, it doesn't matter, you're our student forever, right? So coming back, remembering us, talking to us, even if me personally, I go to a different university, hopefully not, but if that happens, you're still my student in the future, right? This is the big thing to remember, is that your university experience, you will always be, if you come here, you will always be an HKBU student, and we hope you come back and support our future students as well. So just keep that in mind, we're a family here, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm just a little bit rambling, so maybe we can switch it up, or...
Actually got cut off the...
Yeah.
So Zoom is still alive?
Yeah, Zoom is still alive, but Xiaohongshu is down.
Turn it to a Bilibili.
Yeah, so we're just using another platform, but more people are coming to Zoom.
Okay.
So we can still keep the show going.
Great. Great.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's the reason we have multiple platforms.
Yes.
Yes.
That's why we need multiple platforms.
Considerate.
Yeah. Well, thank you. 刚才 Paul 呢介绍了一下我们的这个互动媒体专修的情况。那么我再简单的讲两句，就是我们的 MA Communication 它还有一个非专修。那么这个非专修呢，它更多的是聚焦在公关、广告、企业传播这个方向的培养。那么大家如果未来有兴趣在这个方向发展，那或者甚至是比如说对于互联网行业当中的这样的传播相关的工作、内容啊、运营啊相关的工作，其实都可以去选择 MA Communication 的 Non-Concentration， 就是非专修这个选项。那么这个非专修的同学，他和专修的同学的最大不同就在于他们所修的课程上有一个不同。非专修的同学是2门必修课加7门选修课，那么专修的同学呢是要上5门的必修课，然后剩下4门是选修课，总共是9门课。所以呢，非专修的同学他的选择空间会大一些，大家可以从很多的选修课里边选择最合适于你自己的。我们的毕业生就业的行业是非常多的，公关、广告这些就不讲了，还有一些可能更多的进入到互联网行业去做内容，甚至是到这个游戏行业去做游戏的开发，有非常多的这样的职业发展的可能。So we just talk about concentrations. This is like an arrangement for our TPG programs, for the IJ and MA communication programs. Students can choose the concentration when they apply for the program, or they can choose both. Can they, for the IJ?
No.
They can just choose either the BFJ.
One or the other, but they can take electives on the other
Yes.
concentration.
So when they apply, they can only choose BFJ or IJ.
Right, right.
So for the MA communication, you can choose both.
Oh,
So,
wow.
But we will basically, well, I would say for the interactive media, it's more competitive because we only have a limited number of intakes every year, around 30 to 35. And for the non-concentration, it can be around 100. So it's a lot more intakes compared to the interactive media.
Same
So,
for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just to kind of jump on that, the interactive media concentrations, so mostly me and Vincent looking at the applicants, and we're talking to each other saying, this person might be, they didn't apply for IM, but we think they might be good for the IM, so you might also hear from us on that front, and the other way around, maybe they're better for the MA COMM, the Master's of Communication, more than the IM. So we're, just keep in mind that, like I said, this is a family, so we're, open to different application processes. So don't worry too much if you're not sure exactly, should I do this, should I do that? But, at least within Masters of Communication for the interactive media concentration, that's an open sort of conversation on our end, so. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so let's move on to talk about more details about the program. So I believe we received questions about course choices and graduation, course workload, and so how about we start with courses? So what are the highlights of the courses from each of the programs? Anyone can just jump in if you want to share anything. 我们要接下来讲一讲我们的这个课程当中的一些细节，有课程设置上的一些亮点的内容。Paulo, you want to
Okay.
jump in? Yeah.
So, our courses, basically, I already little bit introduced before.
Yeah.
We have a couple of courses that are for bridging, for students that are not from a computer science background. They may take they may take the programming course, basic programming course. The students that are not from communication background may take the basics in communication course that introduce the theory. These are core courses that everyone should take. Basically, there are few ways to waive these courses. Then we have some core courses that introduce you to databases, that introduce you to data mining, and introduce you to AI in general AI literacy. Then electives, they have multiple, let's say, I can say different topics that can be a group of courses that are from communication style, in a communication style, and other courses that are more programming styles. We activate some courses from our AIDM programs, but we also are in collaboration with the computer science department that offer some courses some elective courses that you can choose if you are really into computer science. Naturally, for that courses you need a strong computer science background when you enroll. Other courses are motivated from Master in Communication. A few spots we have that for students that really want to specialize in communication, that can tap on some courses from Master in Communication that they can, let's say, deepen their understanding of communication background. From this year, we will introduce some statistics course because it's really needed if you want to pursue your career in research in a university. You need to understand deeply statistics, either if you plan to do research on communication side, either if you want to research more on computer science side. Statistics is always needed, okay, to analyze your results and produce a good let's say, good content for your papers. What about? You can specialize multiple types of courses, especially in the elective side. You have courses that help you to write better in English. You have courses that help you to visualize the data. You have courses that help you to understand deeply the algorithms that drive all the machine learning and the AI algorithms. These courses you can make a combination of them, so you have a tailor-made program for you. Basically, you can fit your program to what is your need for your prospective career.
Okay, so we just also received a question about course shared among different programs. So we open actually some of the courses to each other, and there's also a limitation for electives from other programs. Usually it's just one elective from other programs. I don't think there's two, just maximum.
Usually one.
Yeah, usually one elective. 所以大家如果选课的话呢，可以选其他的课程的这个选修课，但是有一个限制，就是一般是只能选一门其他的项目的。比如说你是 communication 的，那你可以选择 AIDM 的一个提供的选修课。那么每年呢，它的这个名单，课程的名单都会有一些改变。当然，这个在 orientation 的时候，其实也会知道更多的信息。一般也都是在第2个学期才做这个选择。Okay, so Robin, do you have anything to share?
Sure. So when you decide if you're going to be a international journalism concentration, or if you're going to go with the business and financial journalism track. So the one shared core class in the fall semester would be multimedia journalism, which I mentioned last time I was talking. So that class is when you learn how to use all the equipment, right? So you need to learn how to tell stories in audio, how to tell stories in video, how to tell stories through photos, through images, and how to put it all together and how to package it for different platforms. Very, very important if you want to be creating content or being a professional storyteller, to learn all these things. So that's one class that all students in MAIJS take, and they do really like it. I know I've run into students in Hong Kong actually out interviewing people, and I'm always like, hi. I can see them doing their homework in Central. I ran into one. So that's always fun. And then, of course, we're going to teach you a news writing. And the very first semester, you'll kind of start with the basics and you build upon that. And then you take a more advanced class in the spring. So we really design our courses. The spring courses are more advanced, right? So you learn a lot of the fundamentals. And then you kind of explore topics in the fall semester, and then you build on those topics in the spring. So, for example, you learn how to do feature writing in the fall, and then in the spring you can take some advanced feature writing courses. I teach long-form journalism, which is kind of like magazine writing. And so you end up producing a 2,000 to 3,000 word story in English that you work on all semester, and I think that's a lot of fun for the students. Other classes, this year we introduced a new course called Generative AI Assisted Reporting. A little different from what Paolo teaches, right? So this is about how journalists in their regular work, how they can use AI to make their jobs more interesting and easier, and kind of help with some of those tedious tasks like translation, and different ways that journalists are using AI in all different ways, whether it's video editing or creating podcasts or social media videos, asking AI to help generate a Twitter post or something. I guess it's not Twitter anymore, X post. So all kinds of courses. We also have lots of classes very popular, as we have a reporting China class. So another thing we could talk about is that we have full-time faculty, but we also have a lot of part-time teachers that are working in the industry, and that's very true for journalism. So we have the chief editor of the South China Morning Post. She comes and teaches a class every fall on reporting China. That's very popular. And in the spring semester, you can build on that and you can study media systems in Greater China, so all the areas around. So I'm trying to think what else. We always have some fundamental courses that everyone takes, and then we try to create new classes based on what you're interested in. We're going to be running a new class next year for the first time on mental health and journalism. So that's a brand new class we're introducing. I had a student request a crypto reporting class recently.
Crypto? Oh,
Yeah, and actually, did you know that a lot of news organizations, it's a beat. They'll hire journalists just to cover crypto and blockchain, which is a big thing in Hong Kong. So we're looking into seeing if that's a course worth creating. So we have these fundamental classes that are always there, but we're trying to make sure that you're getting courses that will help you with your job interviews and in your careers. We had a student just recently say, thank the teacher who taught generative AI, because she went for a job interview and they asked her all kinds of questions about how she would use AI in her job. And they asked her if she was going to produce a television segment, how could she use AI to help her create that package? So that was really good to hear that we're actually teaching skills that you will use in your career. So I think that's important.
上面有什么问题吧？Questions？
如果大家有问题呢，可以 留在这个留言框里，然后呢，我也看一下，因为我们刚才这个小红书被 cut off， 然后呢，现在 yeah, so our red live streaming was cut off. So, but luckily we have the screen captures of the questions. We can still ask
Oh, good.
those questions.
Okay.
It's all about the course load. So how heavy the course load is for the IJ program.
Do you mean the credits or do you mean the work in the classes?
The work in the classes.
Well, it depends on the teacher.
Yeah.
And I
Um,
hear you give a lot of homework.
well, every year the students say they like it.
But yeah, you also got the most people, fans out there
Oh,
saying we love Robin.
When I teach long form journalism, I have there's a lot of reading involved. So the homework is reading. So they have to read some very long articles, and we analyze them in class. But they're enjoyable. They're interesting to read. The students always like discussing them. At least they tell me they do. So I don't think it's an unreasonable amount of workload. It just depends on the teacher, it depends on the subject and what you're trying to achieve in the class. So in my class, I'm trying to have them, analyze different articles so they can learn different techniques. So it does involve a lot of reading. Is there a question?
Yeah, that's about media management. So.
Oh, okay. Yes. But I, to go back to the point is yes, you're doing a master's degree. There is going to be homework.
Yeah.
But it's not going to, rule your life, right? Every class is different and you'll be doing different things. So I wouldn't worry about that too much.
Yeah, I think journalism and this program, if you're studying this program, you definitely get much more deeper insights about Hong Kong as well.
Yes.
Because you will report stories in Hong Kong.
Oh, absolutely.
You will interview
Absolutely.
people. You will learn about what local live and work and many
I mean,
things.
a lot of the
There's a
homework.
question asking, will Rose still be teaching?
Yes, Rose is teaching in the fall. She is. She's teaching. I forget the name of her course. I have it written down.
吕秀老师下个学期还是会教课的。
She teaches comparative and international news. Yeah, she's teaching.
国际新闻，国际新闻比较 OK， 写作 OK。
有一个问题关于 media management， 这小语种学会不会很困难？不会的，因为据我所知 ，media management 的课程呢，不管是传播学这边的还是商学院那边的，都是假设学生之前没有这方面背景的。所以是从零开始学的。当然有一个东西，说是有没有什么需要提前准备的东西，有一个东西提前准备的会伴你一生都没有问题的，不光是来上课，那就是提高语言能力。英文也好，是中文也好，提高这个语言能力。其他的不用担心。最好呢，我劝大家不要在来上开学之前，先去自己读专业方面的课，的有关的书籍或者材料，因为在有老师导读的情况下是事半功倍。你要是自己这么看呢，就有点浪费时间了。我觉得还是提高英文的、中文的水平。
Okay, so about media management, is there anything that would you like to highlight about the program?
No,
就关于
just,
传媒管理，其实它的亮点就是它和商学院的这个。
刚才已经讲到了，是 as jointly run by us and the School of Business， 和商学院合办的。我个人呢，我自己是没有修过商学院方面的课了，但是我从听到的学生的反馈，都是说收获还是很大。这个应该是传媒管理的一个亮点，就是它有一个商业运营这一块，其他的课程就没有这么多了。
对，其实尤其是比如说你的背景是跟传媒相关的，但是如果你的未来可能发展的空间想要再广阔一点，比如说到商科、到这个金融领域，那其实可以通过来读传媒管理，来初步的接触一下管理啊、金融啊、会计啊这样的一些课程，那其实就可以完成一个转型。我们有好多的例子，就是之前大家是传媒背景的，做过记者或者做过内容的方面的一些工作，那他读了传媒管理之后，就变成了一个管理者，或者甚至是去做了这个初创企业和一些公司的这个投资人。那所以其实这个都是可以通过这样的一个课程来完成一个这样的转换的。我觉得这也是一个这个课程的一个亮点吧。Okay, so I think Paul already talked about interactive media's highlights. We love all those pictures and all those, the tools and facilities that are provided and taught to our students. So 这里再预告一下，我们明天会有2场这个线下的活动，也欢迎大家到来。那看来我们的小红书明天可能也不一定能用了，所以我们会探索更多的渠道。但是这个 Zoom 仍旧坚挺 ，Zoom is very strong. We're still here. So just stay tuned here and watch us for the graduation exhibition tomorrow. Do you have anything to add, Paul? Yes.
Well, I was just maybe thinking we could also discuss a little bit about Hong Kong, because a lot of our
Yeah.
students, I think
Yeah.
in all of our majors, are mostly mainland students. We get some international students. We get some locals as well, and maybe there's some people out there who are considering it and then going, well, I'm not sure about Hong Kong. What's it like? All that kind of stuff. And what I like to tell mostly my Western friends is that you should definitely come to Hong Kong, because it's a very easy transition here from the West, easier than most places in China. And then you can continue on, go to Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Peking, Beijing or anywhere else. And it's an easy way to come here first, learn, okay, what's the WeChat thing? How do I do WeChat Pay? Because you need WeChat Pay for mainland, obviously, everybody here probably knows that. But it's an easy transition. I tell my Western friends that to come to China, come to Hong Kong first, and then start doing your travels. And I would say the same for the other way around for mainland students, potential students. Come here first, get your bearings on some of the Western, obviously it's China here, but some of the Westernized aspects of life here. And then maybe do some of your European Western travels. Maybe your PhD you want to do in the US or something like that, but you can have a small step here, right? There's still a lot of the same things between mainland and Hong Kong, and so it makes a much easier transition going from one to the next. And some of the best public transit in the world.
True.
Obviously, I think mainland also, Shenzhen, Beijing, Shanghai, they all have amazing public transit. Not so much the US. But you don't need a car to be here. So it's easy, you fly in, you can take the train everywhere. It's pretty good climate. I would only say the summer makes me sweat profusely. But it's, so much of our professors, our staff are from mainland. So Putonghua is spoken everywhere. If you also know Cantonese, it's a big Cantonese community here obviously as well, and it's a good place to also practice more of your English. If you're a little bit nervous about that, you can jump to Putonghua, Guangdonghua, or English. So this is actually, I think, a very, very good incubation city for East-West. I mean, everybody always talks about the East-West thing, but it's true. This is a great place to kind of take one step here first and then maybe try something else in the West, or again for Westerners to go to mainland. Yeah.
So what I can add is that there are a lot of excellent bars. That's my favorite. 香港的酒吧.
Apparently Vincent takes his students to them.
Well, yeah, you can enjoy a drink with your professors.
If you come to BU, Vincent will buy you a drink at the bar.
And Paul will pay the bill.
What? He shot back.
You got me into that.
Yeah.
So, there are many bars, but actually it's not only about bars. It's just about the culture,
Yeah.
the vibe of the city that it can provide. It's just amazing. There are many things to try.
Well, there's also the new M+ Museum, which I would definitely say is on par with like the Tate Modern in London. And what was the one I just went to Shanghai. MoMA in New York. But what's the one, the Powerhouse in Shanghai? I just went and saw the Biennale there. It was amazing. And definitely M+ in Hong Kong is on that level. And the coolest part of all is it's one of the few museums I've seen that if you take a ferry, right, because Hong Kong Island itself is separate from Kowloon and the rest of Hong Kong, the sort of regional area. If you take the ferry across the harbor front there, you can literally see this giant video screen, and that
yes.
is the N Plus Museum.
Mm.
And I've never seen a museum that has that before. But we also have the Palace Museum, Hong Kong Museum of Art, all showing very modern stuff. The Palace Museum had this really cool exhibition. I went there on Monday.
There's a news museum.
There's a news
There's a
museum?
news museum.
There's a news museum that I haven't seen yet.
Since Chongwon.
Every year we go for a local tour to
Yeah.
the Hong Kong News Expo.
这是我们的一个传统，我们每年都会带大家去本地的一些地方
CK
参观也好，或者参加活动也好，那或者是到大湾区的其他的地方参观一些展览。那刚才 Paul 提到的 M Plus 香港的故宫，那其实这个也是本来我不要讲，我刚才马上要就是接下来要发生的，就是在新的学年我会请一些校友回来，刚好有一个校友他就在故宫还是 M Plus 我也忘记了，他在做engagement， so we'll have alumni coming back to campus. I think she's from MA Communication Program several years ago, and she's working now as a public relations manager for M Plus or Palace.
wow.
I forgot, but either one of them. Yeah, so I just invited her to come back to give a talk.
Oh, great.
So we'll have lots of opportunities for connecting with our alumni
Yeah.
who are now professionals in various kinds of industries.
Yeah.
And that's one of the highlights of all the 4 programs as well.
I told you I ran into an alumni
yeah.
surprise. I ran into one in Melbourne, Australia, and I didn't know she was there.
Yeah.
So that was really exciting. I ran into a student once in Nepal on a hiking trip in the mountains, and oh hi! So
Yeah.
I find our students everywhere. It's wonderful. I love it.
What was your student working at again? Where was the?
Oh, so the ABC is the Australian Broadcast Corporation. It's the biggest public, it's the only public broadcaster in Australia. And we went for a tour, and she was there with the China reporters. And I was, oh hi! So that was very exciting.
Yeah.
Iris, I don't think she's watching, but if she is, hi Iris.
We also organize career talks
Yeah.
that we invite our alumni to come back and share tips how to find work in Hong Kong, how to find a proper career in
Yeah.
Hong Kong. This is important also.
And
because-
we have a tutor program as well. We do that.
Yeah, and I think so for IJ, there's already a mentorship program
We do.
working with professionals, journalists.
Yeah, we have a mentorship program. We call it the tutor system because it's based on a British idea, but it's a mentorship program.
Yeah.
And so every student is assigned a mentor, and you have some choice on who you want to be matched with. And you meet with your mentor over the first semester. A lot of them continue to meet with their mentors in the spring as well. And they can help you with classwork, with careers. If you have questions or you're not sure what you want to do in your career, they can give you advice. Or just really anything you want. It's just a point of contact. But quite a few of the mentors are alumni as well.
Yeah. So what we will do the next, so what you can expect if you're admitted or if you're applicants for the future, we'll bring the alumni work to the next level, that we will have more structured mentorship across 4 programs.
Yeah.
So the starting point is alumni survey we just conducted, so we know more about our graduates and what they can offer, and maybe job opportunities, internships, or mentorships, and then we will basically match students' background with a potential mentor in the future. So this is something, I'm sorry for the 2024 or 2023 fall, but of course we'll do that, but definitely there'll be more to provide
Yes.
in the following cohorts.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
Always
always
improving.
growing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
think-
always
did
improving.
we answer the new question about
Oh,
study tours?
so we
Yes,
have
yes, it's
Oh,
answered.
study tours.
It's answered.
It's answered.
So maybe
So
we can expand more.
Yeah.
Because we did do a study tour for the IM concentration this year to Shenzhen. It's not too far away, right? So you can do it yourself. That's another great thing of Hong Kong is like, it's a 40-minute train ride. And you just get there, it's easy crossing, especially for, if you're already Hong Kong or Chinese or something like that. It's just quick over, and then another major city with lots of museums, lots of great public transit and a lot of things. And we did it this year. Did I mention already? We met Sen Xiaomen, one of my
Yeah.
favorite Chinese artists. So that was a study tour we did. We looked at a few museums that are doing a lot of art tech things there. But we also have quite a few others. Paolo just went to Italy, right, with some students.
Yeah, we've been to Italy, to Rome, Florence, and Venice. We had some sightseeing, but also we organized some activities, academic activities,
It's
seminars
14
from.
minutes by express train.
We-
14. Oh, right.
We're saying it's 14 minutes to get to
14
Shenzhen
minutes, no.
with the new train.
Yeah, but the best is actually the ferry.
Yeah,
And
so
in Italy, we had
Yeah. July.
university seminars. We had meetings in the City Hall of Florence with the IT manager that explained how to use AI for, let's say, promoting tourism in the city, some possible tours, personalized tours, etc.
我们游学其实有好多的安排，一般呢会在寒假和暑假 ，so winter time and summer time we'll have
复活节
two, yeah, and Easter time. So just few periods of time that we will basically organize study tours. 我们过去几年去过好多地方，因为疫情之后，那我们就更加的灵活，可以去很多长途的海外的地方。那过去几年我们有去过，比如说新加坡、日本、韩国。还有，那么台湾这个是可能比较近的。那长途一点的呢，就是比如说在欧洲的，我们去过布达佩斯、维也纳，还有我们刚刚已经完成的这个 Paulo 提到的意大利 Italy，还有呢就是澳洲 Australia， 我们都有好多的安排。那同学们在去这些游学的时候，都会得到一定的补助。那有的如果是短途的话，这个补助可能基本上 cover 了你就是80%的这个费用。如果长途的话，可能补助的稍微多一点，但是那可能就会稍微的要多花一点钱。那这个游学它其实不是去旅游，就是说去看一些景点，然后拍照就完了，是有很多的课程，那或讲座，我们和当地的大学啊和一些新闻和这个公关机构有一些这样的联络，那就会带大家去参观，去听一些讲座，有一些这样的同学们和当地的这个专业人士的交流的机会。那所以其实这个我觉得更多的是去研学就是刚才这位同学提问的这个。We got a question about interactive media programming. So I think earlier there's another question as well. I think you already answered that. For AIDM program, what is the programming language that they usually need to
We
learn?
usually use Python.
It's Python.
Python, and we have some applications in, let's say, no code. Basically, it's a visual programming.
Yeah.
We are introducing also this. No, and some courses have R programming,
okay.
but it's statistics.
Yeah.
Statistics.
Yeah, it's
But mainly Python. Python everywhere. And that's
Python
it.
everywhere.
I see.
And that's what the basic programming course will teach. The original course.
Basic programming will teach Python, and you will use Python in multiple courses, especially in the spring semester, in second semester.
那刚才Paulo 讲的就是大家用到更多的语言是 Python， 那我们在这个衔接课程里边，更多的是教 Python 这个编程的语言，帮助大家完成一个后面课程的学习。还有 R， 还有
some visual programming,
visual programming.
but basically Python because it's the language for data science.
Yeah.
That we use it for analyze data and produce different content.
Yeah. Okay. So how about interactive media? We don't have programming course actually.
Well, we do have electives.
Yeah. We have
And
AI for interactive media design.
I think the big thing to keep in mind is that we don't require that you learn programming, right? And that's important for us because, programming is not for everybody. Not all technologies are for everybody, and one of the big parts for interactive media is you're the one choosing the specific area of technology you want to get into more. We make a lot of these things available, but we don't require anyone specifically. So you can take the programming course as an elective. We do have other programming courses for like mobile, like the phone, the device, or the iPad, or other tablets. But it is also really about you. And I want to challenge everybody, even if you're not thinking of interactive media, you're thinking of one of these others, is for you to really spend time, and most of these programs are 1 year. So 1 year you spend this time obviously taking your classes, but also just experimenting, trying. One of the big things with technology, I come from Silicon Valley. Everybody talks about it around the world, but one of the big mentalities, the ways of thinking, and this goes back to what I was talking before about design thinking, is there's no bad failure. Well, failing in class is bad. Don't fail at class. But trying to do something and then it not working out, that is a success, right? So if you come here, you try a few projects, you try programming and it doesn't really work out for you, that's still a success. You're learning kind of how to move forward in your career. You're learning, hey, I don't really do programming too much, but maybe I can kind of understand how different technologies interact with each other. Or maybe I'm learning this AI, generative AI, you don't need to know programming for, and how can I use AI maybe in some certain area, maybe in healthcare or something like that. So I challenge everybody out there to spend a lot more time focusing on or really experimenting with things. Don't be afraid to fail, right? If you're afraid to fail, don't apply for any of these programs. We want the people who are really excited to try things and to try and do new things, right? Maybe things that they don't even realize that they want to get into. Yeah. So it's a bit more than programming, but
Just apply, right?
just apply.
Just apply and
Yeah.
just ask us any questions you have before it's too late, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes, so this is something that I always tell my students, either in the orientation or later in any occasions, just reach out for anything, that you think that we can be of any help. We have so many resources that we can share, but sometimes we're so busy to share that to everyone. But if you reach out, then we will help you, right? So you single out basically what you need, and then we can provide whatever, link you to the necessary resources that we have.
Yeah, I would just say that just a quick note to remember to read your emails, because the main
Oh,
point of
yes.
contact we have are emails,
Yeah.
and sometimes we get other contacts, but not usually. So just read your emails from us or send us emails. That's the easiest way for us to help you.
Yeah.
We're here to help you,
Yes.
but if we can. Right?
I always ask my students to ask for help as soon as possible,
Yes.
because otherwise the problems become big and probably you cannot solve it because
Yeah.
you don't have time or it's too much difficult to solve the problem.
To answer that last question,
Oh, I have a question.
the only one who speaks English with a German accent here is me. So no, we don't have a German here.
Yeah.
Italian.
Italian here.
We have an
Paul is from
Italian.
Italy.
Yeah.
Ich verstehe nur ein bisschen Deutsch.
Oh, Dankeschön. That's my only German.
That's like the
Dankeschön.
only thing I can say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
It's a European accent, let's say.
So just a few questions that we have to share, and let's perhaps see if any other questions from the audience. 如果大家有问题的话呢，可以把它打在这个对话框里，我们来一起回答。So just talk a little bit about applications. So because from this year's practice, it seems that students are waiting for a long time. And there are not many channels for them to know, the updates from their applications. So what is the behind-scene procedures? Of course, we don't want to tell anything, right? Just
How can you guarantee getting into the program?
Yeah, it's just like what kinds of applicants that we look for, and is there anything that they can do to enhance their chances of being accepted? Yeah. So anyone want to share? Yeah.
Well, I would definitely like to plug, at least for interactive media, please submit, if you have one, a portfolio. I will almost always look at the portfolio first. And it doesn't have to be extensive. It just has to show you're thinking about things outside the normal traditional setting. You're thinking about, how users utilize maybe Little Red Book or some other social media platform or something like that. And beyond just normal social media. Everybody does social media now. How do you do something a little bit more within social media, within AI, within any of these modern technologies that we use? And a portfolio ends up being a really great place for me to see those things immediately. I can see a resume and I can see if you're doing a few interesting things there. Obviously, I can see your studies from undergraduate or another program, but a portfolio I love to look at first and get a really good idea of, are you the right material for this program?
互动媒体这个专修呢，它比较特别，就是因为我们希望大家在入学前就已经对互动媒体，比如说互联网、新媒体、社交媒体这样的产品有一些基本的认识，甚至是可能已经有一些相关的从业的经历。那可能你在相关的行业领域当中有实习，甚至是工作过多年。我们录取的学生当中有工作经验的，其实也占了不少，应该有30%甚至更多的同学是有工作经历的。那他们呢，在申请互动媒体专修的时候，就可能会提供很丰富的作品集。那如果你是没有相关的作品集的话呢，你可以想一想你在读书的时候参与过的一些项目啊，比如说我们有收到过有的同学，其实他应该也是已经被录取了，就是他自己是做博主的，那他就会分享他的这个运营的经验，他有一些产品。那么你不一定非要有很多的粉丝，但是你如果很用心的做了这个产品，很用心的呈现了你的能力，那我们其实也是会非常喜欢的。互动媒体的这个专修呢，它是有一定的面试的可能的。我们基本上有一半的学生录取的学生是有经过面试的。那所以其实就是希望大家在面试的时候也会讲更多的分享自己在相关的方面的一些经历和对互动媒体、互联网的一些认识。那关于非专修呢，我们的这个录取当中，其实大家在填这个申请表的时候呢，这我讲一点所谓的 behind scene stories 啊。So I talk a little bit about behind scene stories about how we look at application forms. 我们在看这个申请表的时候呢，你知道那个申请表最终我们看到这个是一个 PDF， 这个材料非常非常的长。然后呢，至少我的习惯就是我会一直滑到哪里呢？就是你的 CV。就是前面你填的那些表格里的东西当然是很重要的，你把一些信息填在里边就可以。但是呢，请你准备一份很好的 CV， 就我不是说你的工作经历好，而是说一个内容比较丰富，让我可以比较快的通过1到2张纸来了解你的过往经验的这样的一个 CV。然后再往下我就会去看作品集，如果有作品集的话，我就会更好的具体的了解你。基本上如果是我们在看材料的话，基本上就是会关注这2个部分，像语言啊、就读的学校啊，这些是比较硬性的，已经改变不了的。那 CV 其实是完全可以让你去发挥自己的这个各才能也好，是吧？或者说把自己有一个更好的介绍。我们场外
有问题，love letter 是有用的吗？
我马上回答。所以 ，you know what is love letter? Yes. 所以我大概就是讲这么多啊，就是说，那么非专修的呢，同学，如果你之前有相关的传播方面的工作，公关、广告，内容的运营、内容的写作，你哪怕以前是一个作家。这其实都是我们非常欢迎的，因为传播学、传理学这个专业是一个大杂烩，我们其实就希望我们能够招收来有不同背景的人，可以非常活跃我们的这个课堂的气氛，大家把不同的想法、理念带到这个课堂上来。所以 work on your CVs. Perhaps this is the only document that I will see very carefully after all that standardized requirements.
Yeah, I look at that very carefully.
Yeah.
Portfolio and resume, and I think both are not required, if I recall. But
from every application we have CVs.
Yeah, CVs, resume, whatever you want to call it, and portfolio.
Yes, for sure. We look at the good background, academic background. We look at good English skills because our teaching is fully in English. Okay, our teaching and learning is English based, so you have to be able to read, write, and listen and speak in English. Okay, in a good way, because we have international teachers that you cannot assume that they can speak a good Putonghua. Okay, so with you, CV is important. Good statement. Okay, that should be to the point. And for AIDM, we also may conduct some interviews, live interviews, that to assess some aspects that are not quite clear for your CV. We want some clarifications about multiple points in your application.
Sure. How about the love letter? Or Robin, do you have anything to add about the application?
I think everything's been said. Like we look at your CV very carefully. And I mean, a lot of you guys are coming directly from undergraduate. So, to differentiate yourself, a lot of times we look at your work experience, your internship experience, what you kind of done outside of school. And if you've worked a couple of years and then are thinking of applying, after that, then that's also wonderful. We like students who have some work experience. That always adds to the classroom, and we appreciate that. Personal statement, write it yourself. That's my biggest advice. Don't have someone else write it for you. It's very obvious when it's been written by an agent or someone else.
Yeah.
It's really important. I don't, if you have some simple grammar errors, that's not a problem. It tells me actually you wrote it yourself, and I want something personal. I don't want a quote from somebody from 500 years ago, as the opening sentence. I don't care that you can quote someone from 500 years ago. I want you to tell me about you, and I want it to be personal. So that's my advice on your personal statement.
We do know that personal statement, the recommendation letters, and sometimes how people prepare these documents.
Right.
You have templates, or you prepare a recommendation letter for someone to sign.
Yeah.
So that's why we emphasize more on CV and look at our past experience, how you match with the programs that you apply.
If you're personal, if you tell us about you, if you tell us honestly why you're applying to this program and who you are and what you want to achieve, it's a much stronger application than if you write a beautifully written but kind of general, boring personal statement.
Yeah.
Can I just
Sure.
can I read the next question? Is this the question we're answering? I use the translation app from Chinese, and it's saying translating. I've been out of been my fourth year since graduating from college. I don't know whether you will still be interested in a quote unquote stinky fried dough stick.
Dough stick, yes.
I don't know what
That's
I don't
fine.
know what that means. What does that mean?
I love stinky fried dough sticks. So don't worry about being a freaky.
You know the dough
stinky
stick?
fried.
You know the dough stick?
No, I don't. Explain to me what this means.
We have congee, the Chinese.
Right.
You have the dough stick.
Yeah.
But it's sticky, so it stay there for a long time. It's
Oh.
sticky.
Don't worry about
No,
that.
I think that actually sounds like a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shows that you have, worked out in the world. You have a longer CV. You have some things on there that might be interesting to look at. So I would actually say that is more helpful.
I agree. Any experience you can bring to the classroom is always going to benefit your learning and the learning of your classmates as well.
Yeah, and actually you'll be one of the really good benefits for some of the other students that maybe went right from undergraduate. And then you can be a bit of a mentor, and a lot of times you end up being a little bit more support for the professors. Like you help us maybe connect to your previous jobs. You give insights from that job to students who maybe never had a full-time job. So no, there's stinky fried dough steak. I love it.
If it has a good CV in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you are out of university for 4 years, but you cannot demonstrate that
Yeah, if
you
you
have
didn't do
further
anything.
studies or
Yeah, if you just lived
good
at your mom's house
activities.
and did nothing, that might not be good.
4
But
years of nothing is not good.
Yeah, sometimes I do love people, students with several years, many years of work experience, because they will bring something really interesting to the class. They have work experience, they have much more to share, they're more mature, and they can be a good group leader. Sometimes there's fights among team members.
I would also say if you have work experience,
There's a question
it's a
for
question?
Yeah.
Question
For
for
Paulo.
me?
Yeah,
Oh, for Paulo. Well, I'll just answer it real quickly. If you have work experience, it's actually easier to come back to school. It doesn't seem quite as overwhelming or difficult. The homework doesn't quite seem as much because you know what it's like to be in the working world. So I actually think it's a benefit. And there's a question for Paulo,
Okay,
apparently.
there's a question. What kind of undergrads do
That's the idea.
does ADM prefer? We don't have preference. Okay, we have undergrads. We admit undergrads with multiple backgrounds. We admit undergrads from computer science, from communication and journalism. We have digital media arts. We have undergrads from medical school that want to pursue medical communication career. Basically, it's not there's no restriction. Basically, you have to show that in your personal statement. personalized, personal statement. It's really personal. Should be that you have something to add for that AIDM can help you for your future career. We are trying to help people to pursue better jobs, better careers in life. So we want people that is motivated, really motivated. Probably, if you apply with a medical school background, you get an interview. We want to understand a bit better why you are applying for AIDM. It's not a bad thing to have an interview. It's not just for us to understand better your motivation.
And in terms of applications, if you apply, you can apply for multiple programs. So sometimes, most of the time, you will receive a letter asking you to sort out sort of the preferences for different programs. So which one would you put as the first choice, which was the second? But sometimes we will match you with the program that we think that will best suit your backgrounds. So not necessarily that everyone will get the sorting letter, that's the direct translation from Chinese. 排序信，我知道可能大家在这个网上看到好多的说啊，我收到排序信了，这是不是一个积极的信号？其实并不是，其实这只是一个 so getting that letter does not mean that your application is more successful. It's likely that you'll be accepted. It's not. It's just like a procedure that we collect more information from you. 所以排序信只是一个标准程序。那有的同学可能收不到，也不是因为说你的背景我们就不考虑了，而是说我们可能直接把你放到了其中的某一个项目里边，先去审核。那我们的审核流程就是不同的 program 他们会先去审核。那比如说你的第一选择是 communication， 那你的材料就会先送给 communication 来审核，其他的项目呢就不会审核，直到 communication 这边有了一个决定，那我们才会送到其他的项目里面去。所以你在申请的时候呢，当然说可以申请多个项目来增加你的这个录取的几率，但是还是可以做一个更慎重的选择。如果你都拿不定，那完全可以发 email 给我们来看哪一个项目更加合适你，或者是在网上有好多的资料，其实在小红书上也好，在我们的网站上也好，有好多的关于课程的介绍，来选择最合适于你的那个项目。So there's also a question about love letter. Love letter is a kind of letter that applicants will send to program directors or maybe our colleagues to inquire about the progress of admission, sometimes also self-introduction. So what's the impact of the love letter? I believe that we all receive love letters. So would you take that into...
I don't receive.
Oh, sorry, Paul.
I do.
I do. Basically, it doesn't have a big effect in my selection. Sometimes you send a love letter to ask for information about the status of your applications, but we are constrained by university regulations about how to answer and what we can answer. Love letter doesn't have a big impact in my program.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe if other programs they may have an impact.
I mean, I would say the love letters I get are usually from very enthusiastic students who already had good applications, right? So I would also say they didn't have a big impact. But it does tell me, oh, okay, the student has a lot of passion, but that doesn't impact whether you're going to get admitted or not. But you know, I mean, they're not good. They're really not good or bad. They're kind of neutral. I would say.
Sometimes we don't answer.
Yeah,
we don't answer.
We can't answer all of them. I do.
all the questions that you ask.
I appreciate seeing enthusiasm, though. It's always nice to see student enthusiasm.
Right.
Yeah. 郭老师呢？你有收到过？ Oh, Paul, do you have anything to add?
Well, I don't get any love letters, so please
sorry.
send me some love letters.
Okay.
But I was actually wondering, did we answer the CV versus PS?
We did.
Oh,
we did.
we did.
Oh, we did. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I missed that.
You're busy translating.
communication.
Don't
Yeah.
say
Do they have an impact?
The
No.
stinky stick.
Those stinky.
Yeah. Any more questions?
So we do have another question.
I think this is like a comment. Like
That's a
Oh,
comment.
it's a comment?
Yeah. So there must be so many presentations. So for people who are more introverted, they might worry that, with so many presentations, how can I survive this 1 year, right? And lots of group work.
It's a way to get less introvert. It's a way to present yourself because sometimes you go to a job and you have to present yourself for your interview. You need to introduce your work to your boss. Also, it's always about presentation life.
Yeah. I also say it's a good way to make friends. One thing I've noticed is that when I do group work in the beginning of the September semester, those students end up sitting together for the rest of the year. So it's a nice way to meet other people with the same interest as you to work together.
Yes, I have the same groups in multiple courses.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I would definitely say for interactive media, we do have lots of presentations. We do encourage, as you're working on your projects, we basically get you to do one major project to be finished, and that's what our students are doing right now. They're presenting their projects this weekend. We heavily encourage working in groups. That way you can both learn new things, but also rely on your current skills and meet other people with other skills, right? So if you don't like your presentation skills, maybe you get in a group where you don't have to be the main presenter. But I would encourage you, I would challenge you. You're nervous? Hey, guess what? All of us were nervous here doing this now today. And we're actually really enjoying it right now. We were sure, what are we going to talk about? Or we'll talk about our programs. Are we going to have questions? But we're still here. We did it. And you can too, right? So try not to think too much about
There's
the...
nobody there.
There's nobody
There
there.
are people there.
That's the
Look,
camera.
there's another
back
channel.
camera.
Oh,
Back
okay,
camera.
okay.
Back camera.
That's the Zoom camera, right?
Everybody out there.
Okay.
That's
okay.
the Zoom camera.
Yeah.
Oh,
So those are the two cameras.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are two cameras, yes.
But the truth is, like, you're coming to these programs, and this is a big step. It's a big step for you. You know, we do it year in and year out with a variety of students, but we know for each one of you, it's a big step. So if you're going to take the big step, why not jump in and just go for it, right? Maybe you mess up. Everybody messes up at least one presentation in their lives. You know, probably multiple. So just try and go for it. You know, say the wrong things. It's like I was saying before, you will fail sometimes, but failing is good. Failing is good because you learn from it. Actually, the only bad failing is when you do fail and then you don't learn from it. And so that's what we really encourage here is really try and step outside your comfort zone, right? So you're not confident about it, but spend the year really pushing it. Practice outside of class with your friends presenting. Presenting to your friends is so easy. Yes, presenting to the professors or a board is a little bit nervous, but it's even more nervous in a job interview. Or if you're running your company and you need to get a client and you're pitching to them, that's one of the most nervous points I've ever had. So just go for it, you know?
Oh, we have another question about,
So my question about, so it's also like a comment. I have almost 5 years of work experience on the production side of the film and television, but the company I work for isn't very well known. So I was a little worried about that on my CV.
I would not worry about that at all. We don't only look at well-known companies. That's kind of silly. I would say take the space underneath it to actually be very careful and tell us what you did for that company. Use good verbs, be very clear, tell us your responsibilities, tell us the experience that you got in your CV, the description part. And that will just help us understand if we're not familiar with the company. But it's not good, that's not a problem.
Yeah. We don't know all the companies.
No, we can't know everything.
Yeah, and sometimes we don't like big
Vincent might
companies.
know everything.
No, I don't know. No. So anything about applications that tips to get chances of admitted, Paul? Or
Well, I would just be curious who this
iPhone.
this person asking a question,
Yeah.
just which program they were interested in, because I
Yeah.
would just say that interactive media specifically, I do see a fair amount of students saying, or potential, applicants saying, they have all this film production experience, which I do too. I love it, but for at least interactive media, I'm trying to see a little bit more of something, maybe production with some sort of other component, something that just pushes you up. It's not just production, right? So I'd just be curious, what else do you have? Because I think interactive media is more about the emerging areas and entrepreneurial spirit, right? Thinking what's going to come. You know, it was a big learning experience for me. Studying animation is what I studied primarily, film production, and then in my career, one of my first major jobs was actually working for Stanford University in the School of Medicine. I had nothing to do with healthcare before that point, and that was a huge change in my career, and I realized actually if I put the two together, film production and medical healthcare content, this was before COVID, that's actually a very interesting cross-section, right? So you want to get sort of into an area of field of study, consider where two fields maybe cross, because that's a place where not too many people actually explore. They usually try and get to these places like journalism. I want to get to the top of journalism. I want to be a news anchor or a journalist in a war zone or something like that. But maybe actually journalism in a specific area that is not too much covered is something that will build over time, right? So just consider where these things kind of interact. And then showing maybe you have a lot of production experience, but what other interests do you have? Ends up being actually a pretty big area, at least for me.
Yeah. Anything you would like to add?
I want to add a little bit of presentation skills. Maybe your presentation skills start before you are admitted. Because if you are invited to an interview or AIDM, you should present yourself in a good way. And what is the worst thing that can happen is that you have a script and you only rely on that. You should be sincere and you should answer the questions that we ask. Because we ask questions that are personal, it's about you. It's not about something that can be standardized. Okay, we want a specific,
I agree.
specific answers.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about pitching yourself. Okay, it's
Yeah.
not pitching your project, but yourself, what you are.
那我想讲的是什么呢？就是我们其实很多的课程很多样，就是说不是所有的课程都会让你要做 E 人。So not every course from our curriculum that would require you to be an extrovert. There are many courses that emphasize, for instance, on research, emphasis on production, individual production of content. It does not necessarily have to do with group work all the time. 所以我们的课程里边，其实因为这个就是我们4个课程的一个最亮点的地方，就是灵活性，就是给你提供的选修课有很多很多。那根据你自己的兴趣，像我们有的同学，因为我过去教的几年的学生里边都有，就说哎呀，老师我好内向，我是个大 I 人，然后我要去讲，我要去上这个 PR 的课，我要怎么办？我们要搞新闻发布会。我其实可能觉得自己不太适合未来做一个举办活动的呀、策展的呀，或者说做一个公关人啊。我说没关系，你其实可以看一下你比较适合哪一个方向。如果你觉得你是喜欢安静一点，喜欢去思考的，那你就去选研究导向的课程。像我们的课程里边，跨文化传播呀，还有这个质化的这个研究课程啊，其实都是强调个人的这样的一个思辨和研究的。那其实这样的话，你其实就没有必要说非要进入到一个这个课程里，要求你要变得非常的外向。所以呢，这个你真的完全不需要担心。我们这里我觉得不会要求每一个人都是一样的，这也是我们的一个很重要的想要强调的点，就是大家都是不一样的，那就给你一个选择来选择自己的发展的路径，给你开设不同的课程，让你选择最合适于你自己的这个发展方向的一个组合。Okay, so we got a question about IJ. So for IJ's different concentrations course, can students sit in for different courses? Because from the BFJ's curriculum, there seems to be little writing courses. So are there any support for students to enhance their writing skills, or can they sit in?
Right, so you're asking if BFJ students can take other classes, is that the question? Or is it the?
Particularly writing ones.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So as a BFJ student, you have to take business news writing, which is a beginning news writing class that focuses on business and finance. And in the second semester, the core class is advanced business news writing. So you actually do have 2 writing classes. And then BFJ students in the fall semester get one extra elective. So in the fall semester, IJ has 4 core classes, but BFJ has 3. So you have 2 electives. So there's writing courses you can take as electives. And then usually teachers that are teaching on an IJ class, they will let BFJ students, you can do what we call audit, where you don't take it for credit, but you just come to the class. That's a common practice. And then sometimes if there's space in the class, you can take it as an elective as well.
And another part of the question is, if they're auditing, will the teacher grade them their work?
No, so an audit, it depends on the teacher. So first of all, if you want to audit, the teacher has to agree to it. And sometimes that's constrained by the size of the classroom. So if it's in a small classroom and there's not enough seats for you, this teacher might not allow you to audit, but usually the teacher allows it. And it just kind of depends. If you come every week, just like a regular student, then the teacher probably will give you feedback. If you just come once or twice, then probably not. I hope that answers the question. Yeah, okay.
You did.
Yeah, depends on teacher.
Yeah, it very much depends on the teacher.
Yeah, have heard of students from this year sitting in many courses so that she has like a full week of classes to attend from afternoon to evenings. So she wants to take advantage of all the resources we have.
Yeah.
Well, you can do that if you have that energy.
That's a lot of energy. Usually that energy dissipates over the semester.
Yes, yes, yes. 我们虽然有同学这个说，
assignment
对
stack up.
我薅羊毛要薅到底是吧？So they want to take full advantage of that because they pay too much tuition
That
fee
makes
for
sense.
us.
It makes sense.
Yeah, so if you have that energy， 如果大家有这个精力啊，完全可以去听很多的这个课程，完全没有问题。我们大部分的老师，有少量的老师可能他觉得小班的这个氛围更好，所以他不允许旁听。但绝大多数的老师都是非常欢迎同学去旁听的，我们都是非常喜欢对这个学习有渴望的同学啊，开玩笑。那么所以你也可以去参加好多的课外的讲座，我们的这个讲座应该真的就是多到你都数不过来、看不过来。大学都会发每天有什么讲座的通知给大家，我们学院也会组织特别多的活动，所以呢，其实不是说你没有东西可学、没有地方可去的这样的一个状态，而是说太多，你要去做一个选择。那么我们在选课的前2周，就是开学的前2周是选课加减课的时间，你也可以根据你的上课去旁听啊或者听课的这样的一个感觉来选择最合适于你的课程。Okay, so any more questions? Yeah, anything?
Well, I just wanted to jump in and plug. We talked about it a little bit already, but this weekend at HKBU is our grad show for our master's students. If you have time, please come by. 2 p.m. Starts it's 2 to 5:30, if I recall correctly. 2 to 5:30, 2 p.m. to 5:30, both Saturday and Sunday at WLB
103.
This is for the
103.
grand show.
Building name. What's that name exactly? I forget.
It's a Winglong Bank building.
Weilong Bank Building, which is
永隆商学大楼，在浸会大学道校园。
yeah, it's not the traditional campus, but it's very close.
Yeah.
So yeah, just look for it on Google or Apple Maps or something like that.
或者在小红书上找我，
We also
我来
have
告诉你地址，发微信、发 email， so they can email us if they don't know where it is, or can just shoot a message on 小红书 or Facebook, any place that you can find us, right? So it's depending on our skills, right? You can find us actually on the internet. There's always a way to get us our attention. So not only emails. So I think that's also a test
And
for
it's a
communication
fairly open
professional.
Especially
time.
for journalism
Yeah,
students.
yeah,
It's
sure.
a fairly open time, so anytime between 2 and 5:30 on both days. Come meet our graduating students. We'll have some alumni coming. We'll also have some guests, and we've got some
souvenirs.
gifts. So come check it out. A lot of us will also
Have a
be there,
badge?
so you can ask us directly. And yeah, if you can't make it, you can obviously still contact us. But if you can come, that would be great to see you.
同学说可以和我，这个词就不好读出来了啊，就是要见面，没问题。欢迎你。那你可以在周末，如果你有时间的话，来到我们的这个校园。我们是开放校园，不需要注册，不需要登记，那直接就到这个 WLB103。其实这个信息在我们的小红书上有，这是浸大的修课士硕士课程的小红书账号，还有微信的公众账号上面，大家都可以找到我们的这个信息。具体的这个展览，它的地址是下午2点开始，那1点呢之后就会有茶点，又是一个薅羊毛的好机会。那你可以来吃点东西。我们明天老师啊、同学啊，包括我们明天、后天我们的院长也会到现场，其实是一个非常好的直接和我们交流的一个机会，非常欢迎大家。Okay, last questions? No?
No.
Anything to add?
No. 差不多。
One last words?
Looking
No?
forward to seeing you in Hong Kong.
Yes. Looking forward to seeing you in
On
Hong Kong.
campus, yeah.
On campus. Yes. Oh, not bars. Anything to add? No. Okay.
Thank you for
Okay.
coming.
Thank you for
for
coming.
Thank
attending
you.
this show.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks to our students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully
Thank you.
see you soon. Yes, and thanks to our students who are putting this all
The
together.
team, the crew.
Yeah,
Yes.
the crew.
The crew.
The streaming crew.
Good,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And ciao.
好，我们今天就到这里了。
These are so
再见。
cute. I love
到这里
them.
结束了，谢谢大家。再会
What's that?
Oh, they look
That's a souvenir.
magnets.
A
They're so
refrigerator.
cute.
Where did I get those?
What's that one?